So Malcolm in the Middle is a 2000 show that aired all the time in Mexican public television, but only the bad episodes, and I just never knew why. But because of this, I found myself disliking the show a lot as a child. All the characters seem like annoyances to me. It's also true that perhaps I was a little too young to enjoy a sitcom like this, so I'm gonna watch it all over again because apparently it's really good. But is it? I don't know, let's find out by reviewing every single episode. It's probably already been done by someone else, but guess what? I'll do it much better. In fact, I'll do it so much better your popcorn while watching are gonna taste better. And then you'll be like, oh my god, I'm gonna subscribe to this person. And then you'll be like, because you'll forget that I made a call to action by the time we get to season 2. So get yourself a healthy snack ready. Something like tomatoes with salt? What do you mean there's a bias? I'm gonna hit myself with a little bit of a challenge that is not to say the quote you're seeing on screen because every single review of Malcolm in the Middle does it and I'm not gonna be that guy. So pay attention to see if I fail or succeed in the challenge. So yeah, we're gonna go episode by episode and don't worry too much about the actual ranking, it's all gonna be at the end. So basically what I'm saying is to stick around all the way to the end without skipping so you can actually figure out why I decided to rank things as I did. Oof, here we go, getting all of this footage is gonna be a nightmare. Pilot. As an intro to the series, I feel like it's very, very weak. It's strange to see how all the characters seem younger, and I can easily tell that the tone of the series is much more rounded than what it eventually becomes. Overall, it's okay. I wouldn't actually watch the show if the standard episode was like this. I don't get very good first impressions from the characters, but it's easy to see the potential that got the show picked up originally. While I expected the lack of laugh tracks, I didn't quite expect to find single camera setups right in episode 1. But I still am glad the show does indeed grow from here. Red Dress. Now this is what the pilot should have been. Just the family being a family that has its issues but eventually can come through as a family. Much better than episode 1. This time I got good impressions from the characters, especially Lois. I remember being very unfond of her, but she comes off closer to an okay mother than I remember. Reese obviously needs some work as he is too much of the two-dimensional bully for the show. Francis is the only one I'm not really looking forward to at all. His plots are just very disconnected and I'm not sure that's gonna sit well with me all the way through. Home Alone 4. Hey, at least it's better than the actual Home Alone 4. I'll take that. Actually, Home Alone 5 came out between the making of this script and the recording of this footage. Crazy, huh? I don't like that the kids are so cruel towards the teacher, but I guess kids sometimes are like that. They manipulate her and do quite a bit of shady things, but the rest of their interactions are fine and a little funny, I suppose. I don't really like the stuff with Lois and Hal at all, though. Very boring, even though Hal appears to be a great character. Shame. This is a great episode, a lot of jokes and great characterization for the characters, especially Malcolm, but you gotta agree that Lois takes the cake, mostly because I absolutely adore that part where she's talking to Malcolm about guilt. This episode is going to have some of my favorite jokes in the series, I can already tell.
Go back, I want to be monkey!
The religion rap slaps, and I like the repetition between Malcolm's punching of a child and Hal's more casual punching of a teenager later in the episode. It just goes to show, things that were a big deal when you were young are just casual, funny occurrences now that you're adults. The C-plot with Francis is also really good, finally introducing us to the environment and characters that Francis deals with on a day-to-day basis, only to get his comeuppance for being a nuisance. It's gonna be hard to beat this one at number 1, and we're just starting, which yes, I'm ranking them as we go. Malcolm Babysits. A kinda standard episode. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't really stand much. It's incredibly predictable.
I don't know who Melissa is, but she sure wears a lot of lipstick.
Who's Melissa?
Even though I do like that the reason the parents are angry is because they haven't gotten laid. It's an approach that is not very common. Like, it's a spin. Sleepover. Amusing. Stevie finally gets a little of an episode, so that's nice. The C-plot with Francis again is my favorite part, as he kinda creates a cult for his mother that ends up being even more cruel than the whatever they had before, and they don't even physically torment the people. I like the acknowledgement that mothers aren't perfect and they can do very nasty things to their children, even if by mistake. It's something I didn't quite expect to see so early on in the show. Francis escapes. Just Reese is a liar. No one beats Sub-Zero, that's like a fact everybody knows. A really mediocre episode despite having that amazing scene with Hal and Francis talking at the end. Francis comes up as too desperate, which I guess was the point, but I'm not entirely in love with the way they showed him being so blind to how other people perceive him. Krellboyne Picnic, I'm never gonna say Krellboyne right. Every bit of this episode is worthwhile and great. It's watching the family do their own thing until it all eventually comes together into a perfect conclusion. The stuff with Lois and the other mother is hilarious. The whole thing with Hal and the barbecue is just very dad goals. Reese getting beat is hilarious, Malcolm showing his brains and sympathy. I forgot what Dewey was doing, and Francis has seen better episodes. If anything, this starts to make me like Reese and Hal a little more. I like this episode a lot. I'ma put it in second place under shame. The teacher crying at wanting another hamburger? Yeah, that's a mood. And Malcolm, I'm pretty sure he can calculate the size of that goddamn penny now. It's just a great episode. Again, the way everything culminates in the separate storylines merging together to fix it through the genius of Malcolm is something that I hope to see more better done in future episodes. Lois versus evil. Life is unfair. Lois is shown to be very resourceful and able to stand up to her superiors, and I wish everybody could do that in real life, to be honest. The B-plot with Francis is still the best, and I mean, that's in the wrong way, of course.
Annie.
Stock car races. Nothing happens in this episode, yet it still goes higher than some of the other episodes because I really like the interactions between Lois and Caroline. I just googled it, that's the name of the teacher. Apparently she's a protagonist? It's a blah episode, it goes under Malcolm babysits. Too bad this one is the last episode where Caroline shows up too. So I guess she was a main protagonist at some point. Why? Funeral. I don't precisely like this episode. There's a few relatable family jokes, but I don't know, there's not much to say about it. It's just the family being irresponsible with one another for 20 minutes, going under the pilot, even though I did enjoy egg.
Can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time?
Yeah, he's got an egg, you might.
Cheerleader. It's nice to see the way characters sense their surroundings. Dewey's perspective in life, for example, gives us a huge insight into how he feels despite being a child and such. I'm still not entirely happy with his character though. What I really would like to say it's commendable is the stuff between Spangler and Francis, as this episode cements the parent figure-like relationship that Francis has with Spangler. I'm hoping they build them up to a nice and natural conclusion as the show goes on. The Malcolm Reese stuff I should like more, but it ended up feeling kinda bored about. I also like that Reese is not the mindless bully anymore, and he decides to put his own preferences aside for the girl even though she doesn't come back, does she? Roller skates. Hal is a god. Parenting is funky in this episode, but it's nice. Again, this whole episode is made on that scene where Hal dances sadly. And of course, the Malcolm plot is a good one. Another great example of showing parents aren't perfect people and they do fuck up other children, just they don't do it to be evil, they just do it because it's parents. I mean, the bots and the bees. So far, I feel like this episode has one of the least rounded up conclusions, and I don't really like that at all. What I do like is the content. Seeing Lois be a responsible mother was great and kinda necessary at this point. We haven't seen her done that since like episode 2. While Hal losing total control is at least entertaining. It's Monday, another episode where I feel like nothing much happened, very few highlights, though I do enjoy how the episode builds up to the A and B plots into the same conclusion, and that's about it. I'll be putting this one in the middle. Water Park. An enjoyable season finale. I don't understand what Dewey's personality is. He becomes more mellow or rude at random. At the same time, he's a child, so I guess I can't really expect much, can I? I did think that the Francis plot was unnecessary despite really enjoying it, so I won't penalize the episode because of it. The Reese and Malcolm feud once again is very relatable, even if a tiny bit repetitive, but the end is great. Nothing like seeing two kids messing with their mom. It sounds mean, but it's kinda perfect and I think most children have done it. I'm sorry, Mom. I know young Nate was a meanie. And that's season 1, a spectacular 16 first episodes for the start of the series. I honestly see why I didn't like the show when I was young, but I'm glad to say I was wrong on hating it, even if it was justified. Perhaps they'd only air those episodes that I couldn't really see the family connecting? Maybe it gets worse? I hope not. Traffic Jam. Season 2 starts with the continuation of Water Park, and again, the Francis stuff is unnecessary but enjoyable. I like seeing Lois have a mental breakdown over not having control. It's rare when she's wrong, but when she is, they make sure to make use of it. F the dog, I don't like this dog. Did I mention this dog is an ass? The Dewey and Reese subplots are fun, memorable, but the Malcolm plot is the one that surprised me, with showing his approach to life, often stuck thinking about himself and only realizing what he did in retrospect. Great start to the season. Halloween, approximately. It's like half a Halloween. This episode is pretty good. I like that they combine the Francis plots with the children plots, as it opens the episode to the kids doing fun stuff and eventually getting their comeuppance. The Corral Boys being the ones who eventually retaliate is amazing. I'd like to see it more often. Can Francis just get down? I mean, it's not that high. The car stuff is fine, I guess. Lois's birthday. Wow. This episode is just miserable for Lois, even though it does conclude in a hilarious scene, and Lois eventually realizes the family still cares for her. All the parts leading up to that are rude as hell. The children have no moral compass, which is logical for Dewey and Reese, but it makes no sense with Malcolm. Plus, Hal's speech just sends the wrong message. We're too dumb to be reasonable human beings that understand empathy as a concept, but you can do whatever you want because we're dumb. This one's going right at the bottom. No, actually, put it above funeral. Dinner out. Whoa! I can't believe this! The Francis plot is unnecessary and has no real conclusion. This time without the enjoyment. Wow! Oh no, as recording Nate, I can tell you this is gonna get annoying, isn't it? But the dinner part is great. Stevie's parents were always there, so it's nice to have a look into their characters and get the message that every family can learn something from another, for better or for worse. Kinda high this one.
Whichever of you chose Amy is an idiot. I like that the writers took the time to figure out an old game that had dual screen multiplayer, but then the people in the set just kinda didn't realize, so they just put a single player match on the screen. But later on there's a multiplayer match on the screen, so I don't really know what happened here. All I know is big kudos to the writers for attention to detail.
Casino. A very natural episode. Fun stuff. It's weird how rare it is to see Hal just being a dad and doing stuff with his children, and we finally have a good episode for that since the last one was pretty bland. Francis once again is not fun and not needed.
I'm in trouble? Yes, big trouble.
And if he is as bananas as you say.
Convention. Just not a very good episode. Dewey is basically an inexplicable genius asshole for the whole episode. I'll forget about everything with Lois and Hal. I don't remember actually, and I'm recording this. And the Francis stuff, I guess it's okay. Overall boring. I'll put this one at the bottom of the list actually. Robbery! Boring! The only worthwhile plot is the Lois one, which is actually very ingenious and finally puts an end to Craig's weird creepy crush, I hope. This episode was very mediocre except for the Lois stuff. That's the only part that actually saves this episode from the bottom of the list. Therapy! I wish the secret toilet would come back. A great episode, but not a specifically great one. I draw a blank on it, I like Malcolm's brain. Francis' stuff, like straight up, it doesn't bother to end. It just cuts off at some point and it doesn't show up. No start, no conclusion. What is this? It's a very basic episode, but I do like them actually doing some therapy. It can work if you let it work most of the time. High school play. Bye bye Caroline, she was already gone anyways. Malcolm is a smarty pants, gets too self-involved, everyone is affected by it until Malcolm eventually suffers the consequences. A golden formula. The Hal and Dewey side plot is super wholesome and sweet. It is absolutely chock full of great jokes and little details that fit well with the characters and situation. A Godzilla Lois shows up in this scene that is actually really good, but it's a shame that this is relegated to be a side plot when the main plot is not preferable. The bully. This season has defined Reese's personality a lot better, and I'm starting to really enjoy the character. It's nice to see he isn't a one-trick bully, and I like that you can finally see stuff like what I think is ADD, I'm not sure. The Francis B plot is just depressing. I mean, just look at that face at the end when he's painting his hair on his hair like with a... Ooh, tough luck, buddy. Old Mrs. Old. That was... okay, I guess entertaining, but I don't have much to say about it. It's not bad, but it also doesn't stand out, it's just kind of old. Cruel Boy Girl. Cynthia seems like an interesting character. A little weird, but she's still a smart girl who just wants to make friends whenever possible. Malcolm definitely feels teenager weird, but Lois takes the cake with being mother weird. She's trying to be this drastic mother, which ends up making her a very bold character. It's a great episode. I enjoy it when most of the episode is dedicated to a single plot point, and the other plots are brief and to the point. Francis gets Hal to lie, Hal feels bad so he lets Francis deal with his consequences, Dewey has a situation so Lois makes use of it until it's just too exaggerated and stops it in her own drastic and bold manner. New neighbors. This is embarrassing. Okay, don't worry, it's still a damn good episode. I want the jukebox like that Dice jukebox on my...
Mr. King.
So, Reese gets bullied for once, and I think that's great. Lois and Malcolm honestly feel strangely incompetent at dealing with their situation, but I let it slide cause it's still kind of fun. I wish Hal would get a recurring friend. That's it, that's the review for this episode. Hulk wits. This episode is a mixed bag, but thankfully no part of it is bad. The Hulk stuff is beautiful. Bryan Cranston is an amazing actor and it's great to see him act to his potential on episodes like this. My problem is the other plots, which aren't as funny, but probably based on life is unfair, I suppose. The grandparents. Am I the only one who thinks Walter White and Hal are the same character after this episode? Good episode, but it lacks a conclusion. It does have the meme template, so that might be giving it more points than it would have otherwise. But wow, these grandparents have very few positive qualities, and I don't really see Lois growing up with them. It's a weird episode, this one. Traffic Ticket. Now, that's playing effectively with an assembled formula early on. I love the idea of Lois being right at the end while everybody is hiding it from her because they literally got a benefit from it. Even if it's mean, we've seen Lois have total control over the family for so long that it's at least a welcome change of pace. Besides that, the dialogue between Hal and Lois is so very wholesome and appropriate. This one goes over red dress. Also, meme format? Surgery. Well, now I feel bad for Malcolm. Not much to say about this one. It's good. Spangler has a magical hat and I still will never crave an omelette. Reese cooks. This is a great episode for both Malcolm and Reese, as it shows a bit of development for each of them. I know I already said I enjoyed Reese, but I also enjoy Cynthia, and by the looks of it, she'll keep showing up. Also, finally some confirmation that Malcolm isn't the only one who has a future somewhere in life. I support Reese being a cooking prodigy. Wow, another high tier Reese episode. Tutoring Reese. What a satisfying episode. It's nice to see an episode where there's little family feud and it's just the family going through regular life. Not only that, but it's also good to see a show acknowledge that, yes, teachers can be asshats. This episode somehow managed to reach a great range of how the characters relate to one another. Reese and Malcolm fight, but they are still brothers. Francis's problems are most often rooted in him. Lois is very confident in the knowledge she has of her children, and Hal is still trying to be a parent despite being flawed or fearful. This one is going to be very high on the list so far. I dare say maybe the top. Bowling. The cold opening be like, I wish I were a bird. This episode was awesome, so much fun, and it has a great concept behind it. I enjoyed the idea of Malcolm in the middle doing something more unusual for an episode, and it's awesome that the A, B, and C plots are all naturally connected throughout the episode and throughout the timelines. Dewey definitely knows how to order a pizza better than I, or maybe his parents don't scream at him 87 different instructions while you only want a veggie pizza with extra cheese. Either way, as I said, I'm wrong. This one is going to the top 5. Malcolm versus Reese.
And that's it, net convention over. Everybody out! Thank you.
And after 2 spectacular, fantastical episodes, time to see everyone in the family being assholes to one another. Francis and Craig just seem awfully more manipulative than usual, and nothing works out in the end. It's just Malcolm and Reese suffering the consequences of something they didn't do. Why do all the worst episodes so far have conventions? Minibike. Whoa, wait! Continuity! A sweet episode. The family is, well, a family, and their actions make sense. Another episode with great parent-child moments, and I think I'm finally starting to grasp Dewey's intellect. I was hoping to see something between Spangler and Hal, as they both appear to be parental figures to Francie, but maybe we'll see it later. I'm gonna cover now. Carnival! Parents talking about having children seems unique, but I wanna know because I still have no plans to do that to myself. I like the freak show, even though they do go underused, and Stevie is great at insults now, I suppose. Maybe. You know, I understand that I'm being very unsure about most of these episodes, but that's just because they may not be spectacular, and reviewing each episode is a real challenge. I don't know how people did this for 800 episodes. What the hell, dude? Evacuation. I'm running out of things to say! It's been a hot minute since I enjoyed a Francis show, and I'm so glad that's changed now at least. And also, at least now I think that Dewey is a manipulative asshole. In a good way this time around. He just seems smarter now. Is this how they're gonna take his character in this direction? I just realized now that it's written Malcolm and not Malcolm. There's a rogue L in there. Just a fun fact that I didn't realize until now. And I had been writing for like 75 paragraphs. Flashback! Honestly, when I read the title, I thought it would be a recap episode, but thankfully it's not. This is a sweet-ass episode. I love the dialogue and the way they frame Hal and Lois's relationship. They made an awesome job at showing their slow decline of quality of life with the increase of children, but eventually it comes full circle in a way that actually makes me think it's so worthwhile in the end, and I'm the kind of guy who would never have a family. I love this episode so much. I too want to say nice stuff to my partner under the rain now. Oh well, season 2 is over and it goes out with this gem of an episode. No lie, this is number 1, for sure. Season 3 time, let's go! How's both? I like seeing random people react to the family. Now the adults are equal in seeing each other in the sex mood. Francis is doing something, wow!
There is one more thing I want you to have.
Emancipation. I like this stupid teacher because I don't have to deal with him, because I'd absolutely despise him if I did. I mean, right now I get angry at one of my teachers for starting 7 a.m. classes by screaming, good. I'm curious as to where they are taking Francis. It's intriguing and it's probably not gonna end well. Stewie is gonna get that castle he's talking about though.
Oh my god, he does! I didn't know that. This is the first time I read this inside Rotis and I don't know, but he actually did get...
Book club. There's a million, billion, trillion hells and all of them don't compare to the inner Nates I have to deal with. Shut up, Ice Nate. We are not going for ice cream.
Why did I say... Don't put the fork in the... No, that's not where you go... What? You're supposed to be working on the video. Why are you doing sleeping?
Drunk Louis reminds me of my aunt, who doesn't watch this video, so I sure as hell can't be rude about it. Yeah! Okay, episode. Oh my god, if my cousins watch this video, they're gonna get angry. Malcolm's girlfriend. Hey, I didn't forget about the L on the script this time, see? So Malcolm is really horny now, I guess? Soap operas absolutely stink, but I like that the Francis side plot is no longer the same two formulas every time. They already did the family destroys party thingy too, so it's not as impressive as last time. Hopefully everything with Francis doesn't go back to what it was before. Charity. Did Malcolm in the middle just complain about how capitalism works? Meh, all the shows do that now, it's no biggie. So Francis got screwed over as always, and I'm starting to get bored of that dynamic. Episode was fine, though I believe Malcolm is not good at the law of equivalent exchange. Wait, wasn't he the one who could do alchemy and stuff? Healthcare. Well, this episode just made me sad. The Bernard storyline was just extremely sad. But at least it seems like they're gonna do what they did with Reese last season in this season with Dewey, who had some much needed character development. Now only Francis needs more variation, even though I did really enjoy this episode's Francis plot. Hal didn't get cancer this time, but next time, well, you know how that goes. Merry Chrysler! Yeah, fuck grandma, woo! Christmas episodes are sweet. This one is very grounded, yet still sweet. My coffee while watching it was sweet. My imaginary girlfriend when I was 6 was called Sweet. I do not exercise so I don't sweat. I sweet. And this joke is just no longer sweet, so I'm just gonna kill it. I like the mistletoe kiss right at the end. Poker. The Bernard cameo improves this episode a lot. The Francis plot is, insert the thing I say most episodes, and the poker plot itself is pretty unique. I do like the show for styling on us with white people racism, which is unique, but it's just a minor thing, so I'm not gonna really give the episode any more points. I'm just gonna mention it and that's that. Reese's job, Reese's job. Eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up. I've been waiting to do that reference so long, oh my god. Remember in 2002 when photoshopping could only be done by smart people and now dipshits like me can just turn all the people in a Google Street View into abominable ship things?
Yeah, you see this joke? It took way longer than it should, so appreciate it.
I don't know what I think about this episode. No standouts, just an okay Reese plot, an okay Malcolm plot, an okay Dewey plot, and an okay Francis plot. Lois's makeup. Hello Andrew, from Binging with Babish. I'll send you this clip every day until you make leftovers parfait. Or not, maybe I get lazy, who knows. Also, don't kill rats please. A much better episode, though Francis' plot once again lacks closure. I love the whole thing with the basketball and like the whole metaphor they give us there. It's a huge highlight. It also gave us the future is now, old man meme. But that aside, the kids coming together is really awesome to see and I wish we'd see it this explicitly more often.
Get your sneakers.
Faker.
Company Picnic episode 1. That cold opening is absolutely amazing. I laughed much more realistically when I watched it. So, Malcolm is horny for yet another person, I'm not surprised. This is a two-parter, so Company Picnic Part 2. I like Hal's scream at the start.
Previously on Malcolm in the Middle.
I wasn't really invested in this episode. I think it overstayed its welcome and it's too bare bones for a dual episode. The jokes were too mild and I only really like the Reese stuff. I hope they do a better job if they ever do more dual episodes, because these were disappointing. I'm putting them together on the list and I will be doing that with all the two-parter episodes. So yeah, keep that in mind. Reese drives. Once again, Dewey is a fucking genius. Get another Bernard cameo and Reese gets arrested. An okay Malcolm plot, a bad Francis plot, but goddamn, that Reese plot was amazing. Reese is probably the only character getting development throughout the show for now, and it's honestly so nice that they can pull it off so well for me to get excited at parallel parking, which I tried once and now I'm too afraid of trying again. I mean, you'd think looking at two timelines at once would be fun, but it isn't. Yeah, I've seen things that are unseeable and unthingable. Cynthia's back again. As luck would have it, maybe the Cynthia from Pokemon recently got back, or not. Oof, it's the 26th of January of 2022. Very mild episode. I like the exploration of how teenagers react to puberty. You'd expect to see it more often in the show. I am just kinda hoping they pick topics that don't have anything to do with boys liking girls though. Hal and Lois's plots were okay, not much to say. Francis seems to be moving in a direction, but besides that, the actual plot is boring. Very mid-road episode yet again. Hal's birthday. Please don't let it be like the last parent birthday. Please don't let it be like the last parent birthday. Please don't let it be like the last parent birthday. So her name is Pajama? Her name is Pajama, like the things I'm wearing right now. I love when families work out their issues and don't scream. In other news, how come I've never tried lobster? What's wrong with me? Hal coaches. Well, that's okay. Dewey's dog. Yeah, I just did that. Well, for this episode, screw Malcolm and Reese. I am for Dewey getting a dog. He seems like the only person in the world capable of training one properly. Spengler returned and it just made me angry, and the holiday thing just made me even more angry. I was really enjoying Dewey this episode, but the other characters, they really weren't as fun. I want to put this one high because of Dewey, but sadly, I just can't.
Everything. I want everything.
What is this a reference to though? Poker 2, Electric Boogaloo. Really? 2 in the same season? So it's better than the first one and I like it more, but it's one of those episodes that lacks closure, which I really dislike. Very few funny jokes. It's an okay episode, but as unnecessary as the name implies, even though Malcolm did shoot a gun. Hey, guess Hal did actually get that recurring friend I mentioned a while ago. Anyways, this transition?
Women are independent human beings who can make their own choices. If you look at any
Clip show! It's a clip show, it can suck my cock. Jury duty. I like the stuff with Hall and that's about it. Kinda toned out for a minute there, even though I was trying to pay attention. Click ass. Click, how do you say this? This episode was perfect until it reached this part where you see a hand putting down the dominoes because they released the show originally without widescreen support. And I kinda like it more because of it, but also yeah. It was a great episode. The side plots were brief and the main plot was at least fun. I can't help but feel like we're in the middle of a little rut with these episodes. And when they do something right, they end up doing something wrong. Will this season finale help out anything? Monkey! Kinda, I guess. It's not a top tier episode, but it's certainly one with good moments, like the monkey fight and Francis's part. I feel like Lois has been strange with her appearances in the last few episodes. She's mostly cast to the side plot and she has very brief appearances. The rut remains, but at least some stuff is looking bright for the future, like Francis finally getting someone on his side. Season 3 was not a very good season. It is just absolutely chock full of episodes that are just fine or mediocre, which doesn't mean I suffered through it or anything, but looking at the duration of this video, you can tell I wouldn't really like it if the peak of the show was in season 2. Anyways, this season just ain't got me feeling right. So then, they go to the zoo! It's so relaxing at the zoo. So is this how they pitched that one movie, Lamb? I was not at all worried about Malcolm and Dewey because Dewey is such a magic man with animals. What I was worried about is Francis because it seems like he's getting back into a new formula, which hopefully is not as bad as last season's. The stuff with Lois and Hal isn't anything they haven't done before, but hey, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Humiliathon. What's Malcolm gonna do when he is 20? He does so much humiliating stuff that I don't think he'll ever be able to sleep at night. Oh, poor sweet Dewey, playing Claire de la Lune because Danganronpa 3 still wasn't a thing in 2003. The burn fight is just never going to be top at all, and I like this re-scream, which I should have time-stamped again.
You can run me over, I don't care!
Family reunion. This episode was amazingly good. Hal backstory and Lois development, plus the children actually being cool with their schemes. I did some research and I'm sad we don't see more of Hal's father in this series. What I do like is Pajama being with the rest of the family and the dynamic she has with them. It's kind of interesting, and I love when the family uses a problem as their solution for a greater problem. Just screw the hell out of Hal's family. I feel really bad when they left Lois out of the family picture. They are all completely terrible people, but hey, at least it all comes together in the end with the family getting closer and some really fun set of scenes that I'm probably not gonna forget anytime soon. This one's going above Reese Cooks and below Bowling. Stupid girl. I'm all for Reese getting a girlfriend. Season 4 has been so much more better than Season 3 so far. The plots are nice and Francis is still unnecessary, but at least he's getting handled a little better. This episode itself is kinda weak, but I don't dislike any part of it, period. Forwards, backwards. Craig really needs a redemption episode. He does good things now and then, but he's often an annoying asshat. I gotta say, I'm really enjoying Francis not doing the same boring thing for 26 episodes. The cow crying was emotional. I still don't like the recent Malcolm fight episodes, but this one was tolerable, though still kinda repetitive. But the cow was sad. Forbidden girlfriend. You know, Malcolm should just go to horny jail. So he gets another girlfriend, but they keep dating? Who knows? Nobody knows. The Lois and Hal plots is bullshit. I never get laid and I still open Twitter whenever I'm supposed to do something with my life. The other plots are entertaining at best. Hey, this is episode 69. Malcolm holds his tongue. Yep, freaking Craig. I dislike him a lot. The Hal plot was bugged. That's it. The others were fine, I just learned what a Peptic Bismol is. I'm starting to forget episodes that are on the list, which is making it really tough to rank the episodes. But even worse is recording them. I'm not supposed to know what I'm talking about because I have no footage, so it's difficult. Boys at the Ranch. Francis has come a long way. So this season, like last season did with Dewey and last season before that did with Reese, is finally making Francis even better. The visual gag for the Komodo dragon joke is amazing. Super funny. And I enjoyed Louis getting along with Gretchen. You know, the farmer lady. I wonder why Hal always has so much unused money in his credit card. I bet the children have wasted like $80,000 by stealing it over and over. Enjoyable episode nonetheless. Grandma Seuss. For an episode called Grandma Seuss, I sure didn't see any massages. Anyways, I hope that Grandma Lady dies because she's fictional, so good episode. But the gag at the very end is just, it steals the show. So I kinda was expecting the other kid because it's called Malcolm in the Middle and there's no middle in 4, like C. If boys were girls, Girl, Francis, and Fat Hal, there, that's the review. Kind of dislike the fact that they actually stood there and went like, by the way, this is the message of the episode, and then left. Super lame. Long Drive. I love this episode, except for Dewey choosing to be an asshole. Hal's band is amazing and I'm very happy to see Francis and Otto's relationship, you know, the former guy. A moment of silence for Helga, or whatever her name was. I don't mean it, but what's that? Should have been named Band. It seems we'll have a few episodes without Lois. Huh. Kicked out. Francis plot lacking closure? No, that never happens. Malcolm is kinda boring this episode, and so is everybody but Hal. Not that it's bad, but it's gonna be towards the middle of the list too. So apparently this is Nikki's last appearance, you know, this girl who was Malcolm's girlfriend for the last few episodes. She ultimately goes completely wasted because they didn't do anything with her or Malcolm while it was happening. So it's just a little spot in my mind that Malcolm at some point had a girlfriend and they did nothing about it. Stereo Store. A bunch of great moments in this episode, like the Indiana Jones scene, Hal getting a weird card wash, Malcolm calling it a tie. It's pretty good. I do miss Lois a little, but at least they are not giving us a pointless D plot. God, 4 plots in the same 20-minute episode. What's wrong with them sometimes? Oh, and Cranston himself directed this episode, so that's actually really cool. Hal's Friend. Midway episode with some cool stuff. Nice to see an episode focus a little more on one of the Krell boys. We haven't seen them in a while. I hope we'd had seen whatever it was that Reese did to Dewey after Dewey pretended to talk with Lois so he could order him around for 3 days. But as always, no closure in this show. Garage sale. Yep, it's finally happened. Only Francis's plot has closure this time. What? And I guess Lois is back. The other plots were boring. I didn't like that Reese one at all, and the Hal one was also kind of bland. Academic Octlathon. Reese broke up, but that's that. I love the way Dewey's plot is short and delivered. One of the best segments in the show so far. Too bad the other plots had to stay at really great. I guess that's the deal with making 4 plots on your episode. The Francis one was actually bad, but the Malcolm one slapped. Clip show 2. For a clip show, some of it was alright. I guess I'm a fan of how Lois and Hal work together, so I guess remove the clips and it becomes a pretty okay short. I'll put this episode over the ones I'd rather not watch again, which isn't high, mind you. Reese. Oh wait, I did this joke already. Reese's Party. The Reese plot is actually just kinda silly and a little annoying. So, current headcanon. Hal found the chemistry equipment used for meth creation in the garage this episode and began his interest in chemistry, which he proceeded to be extremely talented at. Hal fakes his professional information, but due to an affair with a woman called Kyler in 1993, he is forced to decline a job in Grey Matter Technologies. Following the events of Malcolm in the Middle, Hal briefly becomes a chemistry teacher until his affair is finally exposed by Lois, where Hal abandons the family and permanently renames himself as Walter White, using a company by the name of Sandia Laboratories to hide his situation outside of Skyler's knowledge. 5 years after the end of Malcolm in the Middle, Breaking Bad begins, revealing the real timeline, where Malcolm in the Middle is happening 4 years prior to the air date of Breaking Bad. Great! That was pointless. Future Malcolm. The definition of 7 out of 10. I like that this episode implies that Reese has some form of schizophrenia. How fattening Lois using syringes gives me big Walter White vibes. But I'll restrain from further comments because I just... Baby. I hope the grandmother dies again. Fuck her, screw her, turn her into ice cream. I still want ice cream. Shut up, other The first half of this episode is just fun, but random stuff. I like the ending with Hal a lot, but it was mostly interested in seeing whether or not the old lady would trip and break her hip. The second half is some really fun childbirthing, which is kinda like Rose, but so is childbirthing. I like that they slightly drizzled the baby for the scene where Lois delivers, and the Malcolm stuff in this part is kinda bad. I feel like they skipped over making plots with the Malcolm scholarship. Like, Lois are idiots and should have 100% let Malcolm go for the sake of his own future. I think switching the Francis is a waste of or Malcolm is a waste of any day. These 2 episodes are going pretty high, it's way better than the first 2-parter. I still love that the second part of the episode starts with Hal screaming, "Previously on Malcolm in the Middle!" Daycare!
I guess all we can do is live our lives with as much kindness and decency as possible, and try not to dwell on God standing over us with that giant shovel. Bye!
They do it just perfectly unwrap religion in like 40 seconds. This episode has a lot of cool things I enjoyed, like Lois having motherly doubts. Those actually never show up on TV. I also like that Malcolm is almost not in this episode, and the lights in this scene where Reese attempts a weird sky baptism is far better than what you usually see in this show. I can see the green screen right there. Yeah, that is some shoddy chroma keying right there. And of course I'm here to talk, I'm a god at chroma keying. Well, to make it snappy, I think Season 4 is much better than Season 3 in many ways. There's good amounts of both serious moments and goofy moments, which is something that makes a lot of this show. That's pretty good. Now on to Season 5. Vegas. Malcolm is an asshole. Even I was happy to see Lois having the time of her life, and she isn't even my mom. Please try not to fatten your bunnies. It makes us it makes them nervous. Also, give me a second as I wanna briefly cry for Hall. Okay, I hope this is a sign that we are back to the show giving us meaningful conversations. I miss those. Watching the baby. I swear to God, I want to see Craig getting hit so damn bad. They could have before we saw anything, so actually, hold on. Here it is true, the magic of editing. I love the idea of Robo Francis. The Malcolm stuff is kind of bland and repetitive, not very funny, but I like this one scene with Hal leading a horde. Goodbye, Kitty. Well, that wasn't expected. I straight up did not expect them to have Kitty out of the show. It opens up a nice conversation that I'm so glad to see this show have. Only thing I dislike is that Malcolm gets his legs broken 2 times by the end, even though he mostly tried to help. That'd be straight up traumatizing for me, but oh well. Lois's past was very cool to see. Wish they had spent a full episode on it. Oh, and Dewey? Yeah, he wants to return to Bebe. Thanksgiving. Yeah, you have to scroll for 20 seconds to get to this part of the script. Oh no. Anyway, this is more like Malcolm in the Cringel. I feel terrible for both Lois and Reese this episode, even though it was a good one. The writing and comedy were as good as always, and it's just the show's motto shining through. Life is unfair. Big props to Dewey for buying $240 worth of ingredients with less than 80. Even my god tier auntie can get those kinds of discounts at the Mercadito. Malcolm films Reese. More like Malcolm in the Horny. Seriously, dude? The lunch daily who I can't even show because I've never shown human cleavage on videos because I don't know exactly how much I can throw the machine learning algorithm that judges if this video is capable of monetization. Quick note that as of writing this, Dewey has earned more money in his life than I have, which makes me feel pathetic. Please proceed to like, subscribe, and if you have a YouTube Premium subscription, attempt to download this video every day for an entire year. Thank you very much. Malcolm's Job. Now that's a good episode. Damn, the caliber of this episode is getting much higher, and they keep nailing the combination between comedy and the family drama, even if you can call it that way. This episode had great moments between Malcolm and Lois, even though I wish they'd keep exploring these feelings of resentment Dewey has to his brother since the earlier season. They always kinda touched them, but they never focused on them. How playing with the baby was crazy. Quick note that as of writing this, Reese has earned more money in his life than I have. I swear this is just making me feel bad. Christmas trees. Despite the neutral ending, it was a pretty enjoyable episode. They made a profit! And finally, it's not more than what I've earned in my life, so that's great.
Jokes aside, it is very nice to see a Christmas episode that isn't all about the miracle of Christmas. Holidays or not, people are just not nice. The Francis plot was a lot of building on the same gag, which is interesting as a writing exercise, but not much else. Block Party! Yet another amazing season 5 episode. Working on the ideas established back in the previous episode about the family being despised by the entire neighbor, I think this episode is actually a payoff for that. Every aspect of it was fun and full of good jokes. The only miss in this entire episode is the side plot with Francis having to jerk off a bull. But besides that, the Malcolm plot was awesome, the Reese plot was perfect and built up to the payoff of the episode went on, and Lois and Hal still have a beautiful relationship. I want to do that thing with the sausage. I also like the very visual and gradual change of the neighbor from hating them to actually realizing they aren't that bad. This one goes right over bowling, still not at the top, but that's pretty high. Dirty Magazine, and they just keep going. Still good, but maybe not as spectacular as these last few episodes. I like the smile Francis gives when Gretchen and Otto kiss, it's so sweet. Meanwhile, the sexual harassment stuff is just not really good. Hot Tub! Wait, no, after a great streak, Francis likes closure again, we were doing so well!
All things considered, this hot tub episode is way better than the Simpsons hot tub episode. The plots were cool. I like the sisters' little side plot and their eventual heart-to-heart at the end. One thing I dislike as a content creator is this one scene where they just stand there doing nothing for like 30 seconds. If I did this, who knows how many people would click off. Also...
Shrek, the outhouse is clogged up!
Come on, it would be a crime not to do this. Ida's boyfriend. Did Grandma just call Malcolm and... So in this episode, Malcolm hides a tongue piercing, so he can't say the letter S. Bitch is then asked a yes or no question, and he doesn't think of, yeah. Genius Malcolm doesn't think of, yeah. Well, I really wish they didn't feel the urge to shove in a Francis plot. They are sometimes fun, but more often than not, they are just 3 scenes that don't make anything resembling of a plot. The time would be better spent on removing Francis and using those extra minutes to add more jokes and ideas to the main plot. Great episode regardless, but I'm starting to get peeved off at this. Softball, I don't like this one, but it wasn't bad. The Hal plot had so much potential, but it ends up going wasted. And Francis... Whew, what happened to all the maturing hidden in the ranch? These last few episodes have had Reese Dewey plots and I'm starting to get tired of them, especially since they are all very predictable. Lois' sister. That's 100 episodes. Holy damn. My throat is destroyed and I've still got 51 more to go. Sadly, episode 100 is a pretty meh one. Everything was super boring except the Lois plot, which was amazing. Reminds me of that episode with Dewey's dog. I'm mostly angry at this episode. We've got the character that we never see. Focus on it and fuck off with the Francis getting beat up by little girls plot. That was like the most boring and humiliating thing you could have done. It's just bad. It's bad plot. Malcolm dates a family. This is one of those episodes I remember watching as a child, and let me tell you, it is much better now than it was back then. I like the Tony's plot, but damn, that other pizza Louis brought was actually super good looking. I'd eat that. Brazilian pizza anyway? The Malcolm plot I recall hating, but on rewatch I'm happy to see the end when Stevie gets some form of family. Dude clearly needed it and Malcolm has been a terrible friend since like season 2. Reese's apartment. Okay, now they're just rubbing it in. Reese gets his own apartment. Sure, he proceeds to be a dumb child with the rest of his purchase, but damn, he isn't even 18. Meanwhile, a dumb dude gets accepted into Stanford because he's good at sports and sports scholarships are a fucking scam. More like Malcolm into making me feel like a failure, I suppose.
Malcolm visits college. Okay, so I know that I've been saying lack of closure all video, and I think I should really clarify that real quick, because literally nothing in this episode actually had closure. See, in a storyline, you have this thing called the hero's journey, which is very complex, but among other things it details what a 4-act structure should be like. That doesn't mean you shouldn't variate from it, but you know, it's a good guideline to at least start storytelling. In Act 1, you get the introduction to the story and the life of the character. In Act 2, a problem disrupts the life of the character. In Act 3, the problem reaches a point where the character needs to change, either by introspection or because of however they changed in Act 2. And in Act 4, they return to a new normalcy. This 4-act structure is everywhere, and Malcolm in the middle just happens to forget about the 4th act entirely. A story is as good as its ending, that's what I always say. A good ending has a good impact on the perception of the media, so having no ending makes episodes like this one, where I really just couldn't care. In another train of thought, I guess Dewey is good with the piano again. Let's see if the show does anything with this. They do, thankfully.
And all this time you were selling drugs?
Polly in the middle. Okay, Craig and Abe here, they're so wholesome at the end. I hope they both find someone special. God damn it, I'm getting corny. Screw Craig, screw him, he sucks. The other plots are dumb, especially the Francis one, which is bad as usual. I like the scenes with Jamie going on an adventure, that is kinda cool. But man, season 5 was really good and now it's just really bland and not good. Dewey's special class. Oh, thank God. Oh, there's no pointless Francis D plot. Finally, it's almost as if, I don't know, as if this episode was better. No. Jokes aside, this episode was fun and funny and nothing felt pointless and some sort of closure was achieved at the end. I like the characters they introduced even if they don't return, and even Reese's little adventure was great. Wow, no, Jamie has an adventure and Reese has an adventure and Sonic, nah, he doesn't get one since like 2003, technically 06, but... Experiment. It won't be long before Jamie becomes a puppet. The Dewey plot? Meh. The Francis plot? Better than usual. The Malcolm plot? Pretty good. The episode? Not too bad. Picture. Thankfully, Smart Lois is back and I'm so happy she is. It's been like, what, 3 seasons? I just hope she stays that way. This episode itself was great. Happy about the lack of Francis' plot, happy about how well written and delivered Lois is. Malcolm had an interesting part, but it's kinda standard. Reese joins the army, parts 1, 2, and 3. Oh, baby, a triple! Remember that one? The first episode was great. I love the stuff with Hall getting fucking pawned by the FBI while he is an idiot. But his eventual save through not going Fridays was glorious to see in the next episode. Lewis's breakdown was kinda sad, not gonna lie, but I guess that's the point. And I'm sad to see Dewey's insane piano talents are being ignored. I hope they do show them a little more at last. Reese joining the army was fun and it developed very naturally, even if Lois went to fuck all for him. Unrealistically so. It was a very enjoyable episode, but I feel like 2 episodes would have been enough. They just felt like I was watching a weird ass movie, and it's also weird to see everything return to status quo at the end. You think all this would have more impact, but hey, maybe it does next episode? Fine then, I cheated a little because it turns out the last episode of this 3-episode thing isn't the next season. So here's a ranking for this season when I'm including that one, and we'll include that one in the next ranking when we get to it, because we'll get to it in a bit. Season 5 is pretty divisive to me, because while some episodes were really good, some others were really bad. Still worth watching, still fun, but just not very exciting. Yo, how about I show you this exit door that I modeled? Which is never gonna show realistically, so look at it. Buses run away. Please tell me the strong men become a recurring gag, even though they got very little abs, to be honest. The B plot with Dewey was great, and since the A and B plots come together, it makes for an episode that's actually worth watching in its entirety. I like Chad, the buzzer with the oven mitts. Crazy children are just super fun in fiction. In real life, they must suck. Stan D. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. The plots themselves were the big lame, but there's cool elements in this episode, like the discussion of the 2 sides of racism and a message about respect to service workers. I wonder where Francis went anyways. Pearl Harbor. More like Malcolm in the stupid. Seriously, at this point, Dewey is the genius and Malcolm is just being an idiot. I don't enjoy watching him anymore. That's that, the Pearl Harbor stuff was amazing. Reminds me of those visually interesting things they did in the early seasons. Or that one, the start of Pushing Daisies. You should watch Pushing Daisies. The Jessica stuff, yeah, that was more annoying to watch than funny. Way to give all of your characters 0 redeeming qualities for a whole episode. Kitty's back. Oh, I did this joke already, didn't I? And so, Kitty is back with a new case of several STDs and for some reason forgiveness for abandoning her family like she did. So after not seeing Francis for a while and then getting this episode, can he please not come back? Don't get me wrong, I like Francis, but it looks like they just want to regress him back to being an idiot bully. If that's the case, I'd rather he just didn't show up anymore. The Reese plot was gross, but it was the point. Yeah, I don't know, this episode was meh. Hal's Christmas gift. Oh god. The car scene, it hurts. It hurts my $30 of Monday revenue.
I don't know what happened.
Poor Malcolm getting his dollar stolen. What can I say? This episode hurt my secret stash of $10.
and it was good, I guess. I see Francis no longer has his job because the actor portraying Otto died, rest in peace, but hopefully they don't use this to do what I'm afraid they'll do. The whole plot was good, but I don't know what else to say. Nothing else comes to my brain. Good Christmas episode that isn't allotropy and actually twist upon the stupid and positive outlooks of Christmas. There I said, please don't unsubscribe. Hal sleepwalks. Stop everything. The punchline to the cold opening is Lois standing up. I can't believe this. This is the smartest, most specific punchline I've ever seen. It's perfect. The episode itself is among the good ones, but not amazing ones. Really cool plots, though of course the titular one takes the cake. I feel bad for Malcolm. Originally he was the one with a future, but now it seems like he has nothing. No talents, no skill, no hobbies, just a big brain that apparently can't remember as much. Yeah, the complaints are starting to repeat. I wish I could turn my dad into a zombie now though. That's gonna count for something. Lois battles Jamie. This episode is confusing. Amazing performances, terrible plots, amazing plots. It's very strange to grasp. I like the flashbacks, but they don't add up to a good conclusion. In the end, Lois inflicts insane pain on herself to make Jamie behave despite seeing the effects of the same tactic on one of her other children. I don't get it. I like this episode, but I hate this episode. I'll put it in between the good episodes and the bland episodes. Malcolm's car. Wow, look, they still have that cool Charmander plushie from season 1. Also, I finally started writing in the script little references for when things happen, so I at least have an inkling as to where to look for them when I do the editing. So remember that one episode of Regular Show where the car attempts to murder them? Yep, that's this episode. Also that one movie called The Car, about a murderer car, but honestly, all the parts are just better. Another bland episode, and one of those with no elements stood out. Billboard! Wow, it's almost as if the feminist movements were handled better before, when most interested people actually believed in the movement instead of just its tagline, first value message, or resultant identity, huh? Okay, yeah, that might seem annoying to some of you, but this episode basically talks about this, right? How some movements maybe started for selfish gain, but eventually people end up learning from them because, well, there's always something to learn out of movements, even if they are silly. I like the way this episode comes to an end with Chris actually understanding a bunch of nuance that he didn't understand before. Having a single plot on an episode actually does marvels for the show, and I hope they keep doing it. And yet I can't believe it didn't occur to me to write a single line about the visuals of this episode in the script, because it is quite literally probably the most beautiful Malcolm in the Middle episode. I mean, look at this shot. They really tried to use colors and words cleverly to convey the messages they wanted to convey in this one. Dewey's opera. That was beautiful. The Malcolm plot was pretty standard, even though it was really funny, but the magic is definitely the opera segments. Dewey writes like an opera based on his parents' bath troubles, and it's beautiful. The fucking performances are amazing, the sets are dope, and the plot progression itself is super polished. My favorite part is the little D-plot with Jamie, where it's just 3 scenes of him meeting a kid across the street through the window, and it's like it ends on an amazing punchline that actually had me going like, no! After that, the amazing punchline at the end, but they just implied what happens next. The only way not finishing a story is actually a neat addition. This episode also showcases the power of cameras in the show, especially through jokes related to the usage of the frame. Stuff going in and out of the frame can be utilized to tell a joke. Malcolm does this quite often, but damn, this episode does it even better than usual. Amazing episode, this one's going really high up. Maybe under flashback? Yeah? That flashback was number 1 in case you don't remember. Living Well. Great episode, but not much to say about it. I guess it's unique seeing Hal in the situations he found himself in, but the correct plot was kinda forgettable. Tiki Lounge. Someone paid $250 to shut Malcolm up, huh? And the rest of the episode is strange. Malcolm learned something, I guess, and Lois and Hal had some time together to talk about stuff. Just like last episode, great, but not much to say. Maybe it could have been better if, they actually understood our characters a little better at this point. Ida loses a leg, so I guess Dewey is smarter than Malcolm now and forever? Like, seriously, can he come up with something to avoid fighting his brother with only 1/4 of a brain? I'm just not enjoying the Malcolm character anymore. I wish we hadn't seen this plot. Where the hell did they even put Jamie this episode? I like the parts where Malcolm doesn't show up. Francis finally got some apologies from Lois, which didn't help and is probably gonna be the start of his downward spiral. And Dewey still dealt with a corpse and got saved by a fucking Ida, of all people. It was another okay episode, but I commend them on the discussion of ass people not being ass people all the time, like the range of people, even this grandma. I still hope she had died.
Chat sleepover. Malcolm in the... Yeah, you get the point. He did another stupid cringe thing that I'm gonna use in the title to show that Malcolm did another stupid cringe thing. Nice to see that both Chad and Hal have confirmed OCD, which I might have, but I'm not sure, so don't trust me on that one. It's cool to see that problematic children have problems which are solved with techniques instead of restraints. Something which, well, was rather new at the time of, 2005 to 2010. I know it was the whole fad at the time of let's show the mentally challenged person, just like we now have the show of representing the gay people, but as soon as it's done respectfully, I don't give a shit whether or not a father was involved. In this case, it was done super respectfully, and that is definitely a plus for this episode.
Yo, chill, dude. Sure, we call them gringos, but it's not meant that way.
They should write Malcolm out of the story, though. Like I said, they should have a while back in season 4, just give him the scholarship, get him out of my face. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Also, please don't save analog anymore, just use Google Drive or something. No motorcycles! This episode is giving me hopes that Francis won't become a fuck up again. Hopes! I like the pairing of Hal and Francis, it's sweet. Also, those Lois burns for pajama are just getting insane. Other than that, not much to say, just listen to one of them.
I just love the smell of home cooking.
Really? Do you know there's a way to get that smell in your own house?
Butterflies. So this girl got a restraining order because a dude said he likes stuff she likes without actually bothering to really check if this dude was stuck in her. I'm not worried about the stalking part, that makes sense, but how easy was it to get a restraining order in 2005 in the US? Apparently, Reese forgot how to use Windows, Malcolm forgot how to use his brain, and Dewey forgot how to be in a plot? Good setups, but standard to bad execution. I just dance. Okay, the fucking scene with Hal on the TV is fucking hilarious. I like the Lois plot too, especially the dance. I just wish we could have seen the dance with the knives. And as for that tart thing, yeah, I did a Costco Kinlan pie of that size and nobody can stop me. Motivational seminar. Malcolm in the butting on other people's affairs. So, is this how Hal, who will later turn into Walter White, decided, hey, I should become a teacher? A good episode of the standard type. Unique setups and great execution. I like motivated Hal, but I also like the relationship trope jokes with Dewey and Lois. It's not just the dog children from the dog show. Stilts. Hell yeah. Drugs, criminal charges, money issues, marital problems, and a dude who breaks both of his legs. What is this? Sopranos? The episode is really good, especially the final scenes with the titular stilts. This has got to be one of the most creative fights I've seen in comedy television, and dare I say it rivals that broom fight scene from a few episodes back, remember? I can't believe Malcolm in the Middle leaned this much into the slapstick, but honestly, it's great. I hope to see a little bit more of this in the future. Bosses take a hostage. It's that time again, with one really good plot and a whole bunch of other plots that are just kinda bad. The whole plot is just not good, it doesn't end. There's a Reese plot and it's pretty important for the plot of the show it seems, but if my dude really got all the 50-50 answers wrong, it should be obvious that he did it on purpose, otherwise he would have gotten like a 40 or something. Whatever, it's the side plot. The main Dewey plot is okay, but still pretty 5 out of 10, and a little bit of a creepy thing, and it framed everything in a very disgusting way, very unlike the first season. The way the children have to rely on Dewey for whatever reason and how, I don't know, it's kinda gross to me. Miss Tri-County. Yup, it's the three constants of Malcolm in the Middle. There's a useless plot, the jokes are funny, and Lois is fucking awesome. I'm still glad she's not my mom though. I guess all the Malcolm season finales are good. I really like this one too. Modern shows often try to speak about beauty, but I'm surprised to see Malcolm did it in 2005 better than anyone has in 2022. They don't force the message or shove in a speech about empowerment, they simply show the normal view of what beauty in woman could be. Beautiful episode, great message. This one's going surprisingly high, but not on the top because, well, it is missing out on the great plot structure of the ones that are currently at the top. And now it is time for season 7. The journey is coming to an end. I hear a lot of people think this season has some of the best episodes in the whole show.
Don't get me wrong, season 6 had a lot of really good episodes, but it didn't really do it for me. A lot of the plot structures are very bland, right? Stuff like two characters coming up to one another, talking and then leaving, and that's not really interesting to see or talk about. This partially makes me glad that the show ended in season 7 because give it any more episodes and it may have gone downhill really quickly. Props on the writers for realizing, yeah, this is it, and finishing on season 7. So let's get on with it because I really want to finish this video already.
Burning Man. Did Malcolm actually get laid? Yeah, this is a pretty good episode, especially Hal's portion. It's another of those plot structured
very well, like what I was just complaining about. But sadly, the weak Dewey and Lois plots don't make up for it. I also enjoyed Malcolm's plot, but it feels like they focus too much on it. In the end, I'm glad the family enjoyed something except Hall, but 83% is better than 82%, right? Health insurance. Yeah, last episode starts with using brain freeze as an excuse, then this one starts with Reese being unable.
Really bad slurpy headache.
Crazy. I feel bad for Craig now until next time he does something asshole-ish again. I also like the end of this episode, but yeah, no, I got no thoughts. Oh, another word of this shot. Did you know that Greg has a secret metal career over at band camp? What? Reese versus Stevie. Not much to do, not much to say, so what's wrong with standard good episodes? The Dewey plot was weird but cool, the Lewis one predictable. Halloween, I mean Halloween. Standard episode, but no closure once again. I gotta say though, it's been a while since the episode where I complained about this non-closure thing and I explained it. It's happened a few times, but this is the first time it actually is bothersome. I didn't laugh once in this episode, but at least it didn't make me feel bad watching it, so... Jessica stays over. Yup, I still don't like her. God damn it, such a great episode wasted on no closure trash, and I'm pissed. The whole plot at the end was the fucking best, and I really wanted to see Jessica get some comeuppance for being manipulative, but whatever, here's hoping for another episode with her, even though she fucking sucks, and I hope she suffers doing that episode. The Dewey plot was great because the minute I saw the Chinese looking dude, I started to lose my shit. Secret boyfriend. Another weird boyfriend. Malcolm in the getting fooled like an idiot every 3 episodes. The Reese plot? Yeah, that's happened to me a few times. I've gotten screamed at over dreams by my mom and it's an experience. I'm still very bored of the Malcolm gets a girlfriend, but episodes. They were never good and only managed to make me enjoy Malcolm less. Could have done without this episode. Oh, also Jessica comes back and they do nothing with her either. She still is not fucking suffering. God damn it. Blackout. Yo, that part in Initial D when the Blackout song starts. Chef's kiss. As for Malcolm, finally another really good episode. I kinda feel like the concept could have been taken even further, but there was no need to do that here, so it's all good. Those ambitious shots of the house from outside are very cool to look at, and the episode execution is close to flawless. Plus, the end with Dewey and the girls is actually pretty dope. Again, my only complaint is that it isn't longer. This episode was structured in a rather interesting way, so at least it's unique. Going certainly high, just not that high because no closure, no this, no that. You've heard the criteria. You know the bias. Arm my body. This is a strange episode with no real standouts. I literally can't think of a especially bad thing, but I also can't think of a especially good one either. It is very standard. This might just be that one episode in this ranking that separates the episodes that I think are bad with the episodes that I think are good. Malcolm defends Reese. This episode straight up has the Lois plot from Company Picnic, but better. And even though it's not precisely original, it's pretty damn well written. Especially in the jokes department. The scenes with Malcolm at the end were amazingly funny. Mr. Harkowby or whatever really comes off as pathetic this episode, which I wish he'd do a tad bit more often. As for Hall, it's just beyond me why he does not see why chasing a little girl with candy is a bad idea. But the part where he asked her to get in the car was very clearly there just for the joke. Cause say she did get in the car. What was his strategy? I guess better not to have a strategy than to have a tragedy. Bars. Malcolm's money. Malcolm in the wallet of other people. Now I put timestamps. Hey, I learned so much. I like that they have that sheep blanket from way back in like season 2. It's the Charmander thing all over again. So Malcolm really went and spent $4,000 on a single photo shoot. My earnings are less than 1/10 of that every month. I am now longing for the sweet release of death. The Reese plot was ingenious though. Bride of Ida. A 2-parter episode. In this part, Dewey gets absolutely bodied and mutilated by Lois in the airport before Lois just justifies herself by saying, hey, I guess other people have done it too. Meanwhile, Reese and Malcolm are fighting over who gets to marry a girl. Both parts are pretty good. There is some funny moments, some unfunny moments. Now for the second part, college recruiters. Because he loves his daughter. Sorry, just an actor from one of the best TV shows ever made, just showing up as usual with Malcolm in the middle. So the episode? Yeah, nothing to do with the last one. I'm ranking them separately. It's just worse than the first part either way. But really, I was only interested in the Francis plot. Whatever they wanted to do with Reese is just not coming true with me. They married the 18-year-old character and then proceeded to make his wife act like his mother while also having a very evident affair. And then, meanwhile, Malcolm is doing nothing. Like, this episode is just kinda poopy. Mono. Whoa! Damn, everybody hates Lois and I kinda see why. Hal is a darling though. The Malcolm plot was actually enjoyable after the last few episodes, and the decorations in the bedroom with all the sparkles was genuinely impressive. It seems like the only good Malcolm plots are when he is with Lois, and I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. Is there even a disease called stereo? Oh, apparently there's a disorder called stereotypic movement disorder. Not quite stereo disease, but I'll take it. Hal grieves. A cruel episode. Like this episode is actually cruel. Hal has a terrible problem and everybody just makes use of him for no reason. There's a broke family and it's awful. Sure, the funeral scene is great and the dialogue when Hal is remembering his dad before buying a car is great. But it's still not nice. Jamie disappears again, but at least this episode is kinda memorable. I guess there's a whole category of episodes delegated to the family wastes a lot of money, and none of them are particularly good. This one is just worse because, again, they're abusing a grieving man. Hey, either I'm turbo burned out or this episode is just not that good. The children plot was terrible, Jamie is still non-existent, the Francis plot was strange, there was no closure, let's say it was mediocre at best. Apparently, the next episode is a notable one. Lois strikes back. This episode is notable. It's strange to see the vindictive side of Lois, which has always been there, but they didn't really make an episode about it until now. It's a great episode and it has some nice conclusions. Plus, the Reese and Louis plots just never happen. I think this might be one of the 4 in the whole series. Jamie still isn't anywhere to be found, but the episode is very fun and... Wait. Was that Emma Stone? Hal's dentist. Good episode, the Malcolm plot was silly, but wow. I want that matter so bad. The Reese plot was great because, again, Lois and Reese plots are rare, so I'll take whatever I can get. Hal's plot was kinda lame, I enjoyed parts of it, but mostly it just felt like Hal was overreacting. That said, I was born in the 2000s, so that means I just learned to go with the flow. As in, I don't really give a shit about pride and stuff. I have a YouTube channel, for fuck's sake. Bomb Shelter. Actually a good episode, with 2 amazing plots, and then there's a Malcolm one which has no absolute closure. This show started without closure and I guess it's ending without it too. The Louis plot was basic to be honest, but I fully enjoyed it. But the Hal plot was actually amazing. I don't care that Bomb Shelter is from the 60s, the coloring and the TV and the racks of alcohol are just kinda dope. So wasn't there like an episode where they buried a mini bike on the sandpit? Like, is this episode like not canon or something? Is that episode not canon? Nah, just kidding, I know it's creative liberties, but still, continuity people. Come on. Stevie in the hospital. Malcolm in the hell is my watching experience while watching? Seriously, Malcolm is the fucking worst. I hate him. I wanna beat him in the face. And Reese isn't the best either. He actually just profited of getting a guy not to off. And Hal, fights another 10-year-old and Lois, barely has some plot, but it's like 3 scenes long, no closure. Okay, at least this episode is entertaining, but not good. Kettle Court. Super lame. I hope Grey gets a proper goodbye in the next 2 episodes. This episode itself was nice, especially the dream Reese had with the farm animals. That was a great scene, but I don't really like where they are leaving Craig and Lois standing, even though they're really important characters, you know? More like Malcolm... Wait, I should save this recurring gag for the last episodes. Oh, but this episode just makes it really hard to keep it inside me. Malcolm has always not been the perfect person, but since like the 3rd season, he's been a complete ass. I've already voiced my disdain for him on several entries, but they haven't given Malcolm a single redeeming quality since a long while ago. We have characters like Reese forming opinions on feminism and vegetarianism, characters like Dewey who only do bad stuff with reason and straight up buys a birthday party for his little brother. But we haven't seen Malcolm do anything other than be an asshole and go to like hardbar. Maybe that's the point of the show, I suppose, the point of how intelligence is valued over other aspects of what makes a human being. But if that's the case, screw Malcolm. While Malcolm got out of my face, I actually did enjoy this episode despite some weird stuff with Hal and Reese. Okay, time for the last episode. Graduation. More like Malcolm in the... Damn it, I swear I had something for this. This was a great ending. I don't like the way they just spat the show's entire message with dialogue. And I mean, yeah, they've been doing it since like episode 1, Life is Unfair, but never to this extreme. And it was also kinda weird. I don't like the message of, this is what's expected of you, so I guess you gotta do it a bunch. But whether yet is the ending scene where they give us the series closure. This episode gave Ida more redemption and Craig at least wasn't left as pathetically as they made him out to be a few episodes prior. To be honest, I ended up really growing to like the idea of Francis growing, not maturing, because I feel like maturing is pretty much a myth, so it's really cool to show it here, you know? I wasn't a fan at first, still not my favorite thing to do, but it's a great end for the character of Francis.
The only thing I'd like to see is what the heck Piama wants out of life. They never made it clear and she's such a wasted character in this series overall. But oh wait, you can have it all. I like that even now they censor the family surname, even though it's very, very obviously
Enhance.
no last name. I like Wilkerson's from the pilot better.
Just generally a great finale, though it's a little too direct with its message.
And that is Malcolm still I don't have one for this.
I'm aware that this is kind of pointless since we are just gonna rank them all now, but here's the ranking for season 7 episodes individually. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I only really put this here so I could show this cool camera effect that I didn't get to do. Look at it. What?
My overall thoughts on the series say it was a good show. Maybe it was not perfect, maybe not every single episode was the most amazing. Generally, it was really good. There are very few episodes I think are bad in the general list. But besides that, I also like the many messages it has to say. They avoided going into very basic stuff early on, and while I did feel like the series eventually began to drag on and the quality deteriorated a little, I didn't think it was exactly that bad. I feel like it ended right at the point it should have ended. Okay, so now I will list to you all of the episodes, worst to best. You might notice a few things are not exactly correlating to what I said in regards to the rankings, because some stuff did change on retrospective, especially towards the end of the list. There's also some variation to be expected, since I can't remember the some 500 plots of the entire show, so take 2 or 3 spots over or under for anything in the middle of the list. On the top entries, I want to specifically point out tutoring Reese, since sure now that I recorded the audio I didn't make it as big as it was, but I did think it was a fantastic episode, and the only reason it's not at the top of the list is, again, it wasn't that good in retrospective to me. It goes without saying now that leaving your comments and subscribing and liking the video and all that stuff would be amazing for my channel. YouTube isn't the best platform for pushing new creators unless there's extremely high numbers, and that requires a little bit of skill and a little bit of luck. But your engagements make that luck factor less necessary. YouTube is kinda weird, and you guys have to tell it how to do stuff right. I appreciate any help tenfold. Thank you for watching. There's been a lot of work put into this video, there's still more from now that I'm recording, so just judge by what you've seen in this video whether or not I deserve your subscription. But I have a feeling that the answer here is yes.
Oh, you can also support me on Patreon. It was something that I forgot to write on the script. Please also support me on Patreon. Whatever, let's just finish this thing. Clip Show, Malcolm vs. Reese. Clip Show 2, Convention, Jury Duty, Funeral, Lois's Birthday, Pilot, College Recruiters, Hall Coaches, Garrett Sale, Home Alone 4, Malcolm Visits College, Store Car Races, Francis Escapes, Secret Boyfriend, Company Picnic, Malcolm's Car, Hal's Friend, Army Body, this means anything over here is a good episode, AA, Charity, Old Miss Old, Bride of Ida, Buses Take a Hostage, Halloween, Malcolm Babysits, The Grandparents, Kitty's Back, Malcolm's Girlfriend, Smooth Day, Future Malcolm, New Neighbors, Bear Harbor, Louisa's Sister, still don't know how to say it, Dewey's Dog, Surgery, Monkey, Steve in the Hospital, Stupid Girl, Cynthia's Back, Reese's Party, Softball, Polly in the Middle, Reese's Job, Therapy, Execution, Houseboat, Evacuation, Louis vs. Evil, Christmas, Kicked Out, Hall Quits, Health Insurance, Tiki Lounge, The Butts and the Bees, Louise Beats Jamie, Malcolm's Money, Living Will, Hal Greaves, Ida Loses a Leg, Poker 2, Hal's Dentist, Poker, Malcolm Defends Reese, Standy, Reese's Apartment, Ida's Boyfriend, Malcolm Holds His Tongue, Hal's Birthday, Grandma Sue's, Jessica Stays Over, Robbery, High School Play, Experiment, Reese vs. Stevie, Butterflies, Sleepover, Carnival, Dirty Magazine, Book Club, Motivational Seminar, Emancipation, Halloween Approximately, Ida's Dance, Victor's Other Family, which I called Victor on the actual entrance, but whatever, No Motorcycles, If Boys Were Girls, Hal's Sleepwalks, Mono, Christmas Trees, Malcolm Dates a Family, Hal's Christmas Gift, Watching the Baby, Cheerleader, Forbidden Girlfriend, Kettle Court, Sue, Vegas Pro 17, Bomb Shelter, Forwards Backwards, Casino, Lois Strikes Back, Reese Joins the Army, Reese Joins the Army, Reese Joins the Army, Louise's Makeup, Hot Tub, Morp, Stereo Store, Dewey Special Class, Goodbye Kitty, Health Scare, Roller Skates, Buzzy's Runaway, Chat Sleepover, Dinner Out, Graduation, Traffic Jam, The Bully, Malcolm Films Reese, Water Park, Red Dress, Boys of the Ranch, Blackout, Billboard, Long Drive, Traffic Ticket, Mini Bike, Stilts, Academic Octaton, Daycare, Humilithon, Reese Drives, Thanksgiving, Crowborn Girl, Malcolm's Job, Baby, Family Reunion, Burning Man, Reese Cooks, Tutoring Reese, Miss Tri-County, Bowling. Number 5 is Scrollboy Picnic, number 4 is Shame, number 3 is Block Party, number 2 is Dewey Soperall, and number 1 is Flashback. I got it now. It's more like Malcolm in the... What do you mean it cut off? What do you mean it cut off? I'm just glad I finished watching this. My throat is destroyed. Please subscribe.